Photosynthesis, the reason we have oxygen in the atmosphere and life on this planet. Nearly 1 out of every 3 breaths we take is thanks to the oxygen created by organisms called Cyanobacteria. And cyanos, as we call them for short, are tiny. If you zoom in on a single cyanocell, it's 25 times smaller than a human hair. One reason these tiny organisms are great at photosynthesis is that each cyanocell contains little factories called carboxysomes. Carboxysomes contain the machinery that capture carbon dioxide from the atmosphere to produce high-energy molecules to power the cyano. The factories are so efficient that scientists want to repurpose them to make stuff they don't naturally make, like fuels, industrial materials, or medical tools, without the usual need for fossil fuels. But first, scientists need to better understand how these factories work. They're studying how they're built, how they adapt to changes in the outside world, and how they're controlled in the cyano. One of the questions we're answering now is how they move inside cyanos, how they are positioned. New research is showing that the factories get stuck in their spot in a system similar to Velcro. Here's how it works. A protein called MSU-DOE coats the outside of these factories. Another protein, called McdA, binds to the DNA that floats inside the entire cyano. When these two proteins interact, they ground the factories to the DNA and help them skate along the surface. The system also keeps different factories in one cyano separate from each other. It's basically how factories are placed in a cyano. So why do cyanos bother to do all this? We think factories would move too randomly without this Velcro system, which is not ideal for 2 reasons. 1. Cell division. A cyano wants to make sure daughter cells get the same number of factories so they start their lives equally productive. 2. The system keeps factories spaced apart so they each use their surrounding resources without crowding each other, otherwise they might compete for resources and be less productive. So, how does this knowledge benefit us? In order to repurpose these factories, we'll need to control their placement inside cyanos for maximum efficiency. Once we start doing this, it'll be a step closer to making all sorts of useful things, using only sunlight and some carbon dioxide. This is just one way we're helping to realize a greener future.